Yeah, hi everyone, good morning. I'm Siddharth Rajans and thank you so much TEDx Sahyadri College of Engineering and Management for having me. My talk is about India engineering the future of innovation. See, my concept is we are a country of engineers. We are a country of innovators. All the great things that we have accomplished after our independence or even before independence. A lot of people often say that the Indian railway system was because the Britishers came and designed it. But it was the Indian mind and Indian workers who actually made that happen. A lot of people don't know that. India has been a country of the finest engineers and innovators that have ever existed. Great things happened after our independence, from the civil engineering marvels of Sir Vishweshwaraya to the aerospace feats by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam as part of the SLV-3 missions. All these have been engineering innovations that we have done in an indigenous level. But then the one thing that often I'm scared about is, where is the future of engineering headed in our country? I mean, 50 years from now, do we expect that India would still be the same level of engineering and same level of innovation that we have been doing in the past? Or do we expect that we will somehow become a nation of just TCS and Infosys employees, right? Because currently that's what our engineering trend is all about. We are no longer on the innovation side. We are no longer on creating engineering for the nation. Most of our engineering talent goes into outsourcing and consultancy, because that's what engineering has been reduced to. Merely a degree to get a job, and from there, finish your life goals. Earn enough, get married, get an MBA, and settle down. So I don't think this is what is going to change the future or build the future of innovation or engineering in our country. So that's what my talk is essentially about. So there's this one thing that I often quote. Ever since social media happened, the likes of, say, Facebook or Instagram, all of these things came up, we have as a nation forgotten people who are doing real groundwork. Like, I'm sure there are thousands and thousands of brilliant employees at ISRO. There's a Akshay Kumar starrer movie on the Mars mission that's coming out. There are people who are working. They aren't making Instagram stories or Facebook posts every day about the work that they are doing. Today, our belief about leaders, about influencers, about entrepreneurs are all those people who are living off social media. And I am pretty sure, and so are you, that these people do not have the kind of real work that we get to see on social media. So this entire generation of social media influencers are not going to decide the future of my country or our country, right? We need to identify people who are working on the real field. And that's where our true innovation, our true talent lies. So it's very important as youngsters, for all those who are aspirant engineers or aspirant entrepreneurs, it's very important to focus on real work. The social media influencer fab that has caught up, that's not going to propel our country forward, right? So though social media is important, it has its own merits, but then this entire generation of people who are living off TikTok and Instagram, I don't think that is the right way forward because of the future of our country is at stake in pure engineering and innovation ways, right? So there's this one thing that I often speak about, because it's been like, I give a TEDx every year. I've been speaking to engineering students for the past 6.5, 7 years now, address more than 1 million students. This one thing that I often see is decision-making ability. A lot of us, we do not have something called as our national conscience in place. A lot of us, all of us in general, we have personal goals, right? We have family goals. We do not have national goals. I mean, how many of us here today have a dream that we want to do this for our region, or we probably want to build a dam across this place, or we want to probably elevate the level of technological infrastructure in this region? A lot of us do not think in that manner. We are merely focused on ensuring that our life and our financials are in order. And that brings me to an important decision. So this is a brilliant Japanese decision-making concept. It's called Ikigai. So you can probably Google this up after the talk. I personally found this to be really, an in-depth analysis of how our brain works. So there are 4 areas: passion, mission, profession, and vocation. And what the Japanese says, a mixture of these 4 is what is known as Ikigai, in something in which you can balance your vision, your higher calling, at the same time ensure that you are surviving enough, you have enough to pay for your bills. This concept is something that will really help our future generations. So I personally believe in this. It has really helped me take a lot of calculated risks and decisions in life. So as an entrepreneur, as someone who has to shape the future of our nation, this is something I truly believe in. A part of my journey was at Harvard Business School. What I mostly learned about is we Indians are there everywhere. In fact, the dean of HBS is a man called Nitin Nohria. The dean of Harvard undergrad studies is a man called Rakesh Khurana. So, I mean, the fact is, the Western media is trying to paint an image that the American innovation or American engineering is leading. The fact is, we Indians are merely employees reduced to the employee level format. In fact, we are the ones who are actually making things happen at these organizations. You name Sundar Pichai at Google, you name Satya Nadella at Microsoft, or you name anyone at Harvard. We Indians are there everywhere. So it's time we realize our true potential and encash on it rather than trying to merely become employees of a higher master, right? So there are three things that I often quote that every engineering student needs to have. The thing is, in today's times, a lot of us, when we are wanting to do something with reference to entrepreneurship, they say, you need to be street smart. I beg to disagree because, I fail to understand this concept. If you are street smart, your startup or your idea will be confined to the streets. It will never go global. The true nature of a global idea, of a globally recognized concept is you need to have your core competency in place. So there are three things: technical expertise, conceptual clarity, and core competency. I believe this is what is required. Your engineering knowledge today, that is extremely important. So focus on it, because the hard engineering of our nation relies on people like you and me, on the future engineers of this country, right? There's this one concept that I really like, though I myself went through this treacherous process, but why MBA is the biggest scam of the Indian education industry. I'm sure there are MBA students at Sahyadri as well, and this is the first time probably at a TEDx someone is saying this, but why is an MBA degree the biggest scam? Because all through your engineering, while you are still preparing for your engineering exams and all, you are being forced to prepare for CAT, MAT, this, that. So in the back of your mind, that preparation is going on. Once you finish your engineering, you probably have a job for a year or two. You end up again preparing for the same exams, cracking them. And then what do? You pay a fee that's so high that you have to sell a kidney, right? Fees that is so high, so ridiculously high that it can probably subsidize the private education of a country like Pakistan or Bangladesh. And then what do? You end up at a MBA college. You start, because the fee is so exorbitantly high, right, at the top B schools of our nation that need not be named. And then the first day, your dean will magically appear before you and tell you that management cannot be taught, management is an art. So why did you make me go through this process? Why in the first place did I have to prepare so hard, right? And imagine those 2 years worth of your MBA and that 25 lakh rupee. If you invested that at a startup, your investor is at your home. As a student, your parents are your investors. They have saved for your MBA if you are a boy, or they are going to take a loan. Use that money and that 2 years worth of time and you can see where your startup will go. If you are a girl, they have saved money for your marriage. So take that calculated risk. Rather than wanting to marry a Mark Zuckerberg, be that Mark Zuckerberg, right? So a part of my journey, a great amount of learning came from Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. This was in 2015 before his demise. We worked together on my startup's concept, something that I'll never forget. A great amount of my passion for nation building comes from his ideals. We worked together on a concept called Outernet, or satellite-powered internet. This was something that I truly believe can guide the future of technological development and telecommunications in the country. Probably that is another different TED talk. But then the concept that we worked on really helped me, shape me as a person. There are a couple of things that I wanted to mention. Dr. Kalam's idea for a developed India was always around this one concept called as knowledge superpower. He never wanted us to be a dominant superpower such as USA or China, trying to dominate the world. See, even at the United Nations, the biggest irony is the Security Council, the two nations that are the key players of the Security Council are USA and France. Agree? The entire world's security is being leased out to two countries that are the biggest manufacturers of defense equipment. Their economy relies on selling defense material to the world. France, the Rafale jets, and United States, probably the single biggest economy based on defense material. And as sir would readily agree here, all of our defense supplies for all the countries in the world, it is solely backed by the USA and France. And the security of the entire world is the Security Council. The two most important players are the countries whose economy relies on selling defense equipment. That's the irony. Where will the world be secure if we have two people whose businesses rely on making other people fight with each other? Right? So our country needs to be a knowledge superpower. That is our core competency. That we need to realize. There's another important concept. It's called passion versus fascination. So a lot of us, we are often confused with this concept of what is passion, right? Because we are often told, follow your heart, follow your passion. See, there's this beautiful thing. If you like Shah Rukh Khan or you like the theater, if you like Kalpana Chawla, Sunita Williams, or you like astrophysics, do you like Chetan Bhagat or do you like writing, literature? If your answer is the latter, that is your passion. You are deeply interested into the exact art. If your answer is the former, that is merely a fascination. You're fascinated by people in the industry. You look at sir and you feel, I should become an army man, you're probably fascinated by the medals. If you look at his career, if you look at the amount of wars he has seen, if you want to serve the country, that is your passion, that is your true calling. This minute idea can help you decide a lot of things. There's also one cool concept that I often think of. Dr. Kalam and everyone spoke of the gross domestic product of the country or the national deficit, things like that. There's this one concept that often goes missing, the gross breakup rate of the country. And breakups do mean the breakups that you are thinking, right? Half of our engineering population is busy getting into and out of relationships. Who is going to serve Bharat Mata if you are busy making someone else a Mata? So this is one concept that we need to think of. This rate has to go down if my country has to progress, right? And ultimately, it's all about coming out of pseudosciences. How many of you guys believe in astrology and numerology? I'm sure a lot of us do believe. But then how ridiculous is it that a ball of gas that's millions of light years away, called Jupiter, is going to affect your day? It has no other work. The ego of Jupiter is so thrashed that it is only wanting to spoil the day of a youngster sitting here. That's it. And you look at Bollywood. These people, we call them our role models. Like half of the youngster population of India looks up to Bollywood stars. There is absolutely no talent in Bollywood. The entire industry relies on things like numerology. You look at their names, they're always busy changing their names. Ritesh Deshmukh goes by the name Ritesh. Tushar Kapoor has changed, dropped Kapoor, the only thing that was working for him. He's now known by the name Tashar. Ajay Devgan dropped the A in Devgan. It's talent bharpoor hai. It's just that you need to change the names. This is ridiculous. Come on, this is not going to determine the future of our country. And then there is this guy, the single biggest icon of pseudosciences in India. If you haven't Googled him up, this guy requires to be at a TEDx talk to unravel the mysteries of the universe. Yeah? So come out of pseudosciences. And our belief system. Our belief system is heavily influenced by the Western media. So there's this one concept that I often speak about. This is a lane in California. It's called Bubblegum Alley. You can Google it up later. We have such great monuments, such rich history of 2,000 years that we are unable to brand. And these buggers in the United States markets the hell out of everything. They just eat chewing gum and stick it into the valley, and people are there in the lane to just click photos because it's known as the chewing gum alley in California. How ridiculous is this concept? It's all about marketing. The world looks up to these kind of things, right? And we need to realize that. It's the Western media that's influencing our thought process. And then we come to a concept called core competency, which I often speak about. What is this thing called core competency? We need to realize as Indians, our core competency was never into the kind of heavy athletics that United States or the African nations are all about. They often, if you just Google up our Rio Olympics 2016, you will find a list of places that, India has not performed well in Rio Olympics, this and that. there'll be articles like this. That personally hurts me as an Indian because that was never our core competency. Our core competency are our gray cells. And then you look at our achievements, if you talk of things like the Olympics of the brain, the Indian Physics Olympiad, the International Chemistry Olympiad, Bio Olympiad, Math Olympiad, the Olympics of the brain. In the 500-year history, there's always been an Indian kid who's been winning gold medals there. You look at the national spell bee in the USA, right? Every year there's a 5 or 6-year-old Indian kid who wins the national spell bee, irrespective of howsoever big his American counterparts are. But the Western media won't highlight that. And we need to realize that. And if you still don't believe me, ask that Jamaican sprinter who's always winning marathons. Ask him to write the IIT JEE, and you will realize what their core competency is. So all of this is all about building a self-reliant economy, because that is what is going to drive the future of our country. Just imagine how far is 2020. We have had great leaders, statesmen who have said that India would become a developed nation by 2020. Remember? How far is 2020 and how close are we to that dream? This can only happen when the engineering population undergoes this systematic change in order to build for our nation, right? So there's this beautiful concept, it's called moonshot innovations. This was proposed by Google a couple years ago. As engineers, I believe this is one thing that we should look up to. If you have a huge problem, we need to come up with radical solutions and breakthrough technology. And the summation of that would be an X. And there are several X's like that that we need to solve for. We cannot aim to solve a huge problem by employing a Rajiv Gandhi Yojana or a Narendra Modi Yojana. Honestly, we need to work on solving X's like that we need to identify as engineers, as innovators. And then there's one thing that we need to learn, and that is to embrace our failures. Even I, for a matter of fact, I underwent a lot of turbulent times in the past. So for this instance is my mom holding my fractured leg when I met with a road accident. There have been instances like that. You have to leave them behind, think of a higher goal, and move in that direction, rather than clinging on to things like that my girl left me, my leg got fractured, my dad wants me to go for a job. You have to leave this thing behind and think of the nation, because only that will help shape the future of a country, right? So we all, as engineers, need to solve for India rather than solving for our own life crisis. If you have that higher calling, I'm sure your life will be sorted and the future of our country will be in safer hands, right? So with that, I'd like to rest my speech. I hope you had a few important takeaways from this, and I hope we all work in that direction. Because अब भी जो खून ना खौला खून नहीं वो पानी है, जो देश के काम ना आए वो बेकार जवानी है. So, thank you so much, TEDx, SCCM. I had a good time speaking to you guys. I hope I am on time, because I didn't see a meter here somewhere. But I hope you had a good time, and we can catch up after the keynote. Thank you so much.